What if I told you the real secret to being a successful trader has nothing to do with winning? In fact, what if it's all about becoming an expert at losing? I know, it sounds completely backwards, but we're going to dive into this idea from Tom Hougaard's book, Best Loser Wins. And by the end, you'll see why learning to lose well is pretty much the only way you'll ever succeed in the long run. So let's just get right to it. Why do so many traders fail? You've heard all the usual excuses, right? They didn't have the right system, their analysis was wrong, or they just got unlucky. But what if the real problem isn't on any chart? What if it's something way more personal? Here's the thing. It's not about finding some magical, complex strategy. It's almost never the strategy. The number one reason for failure is the emotional chaos that happens right between your ears. It's all about your psychology. And that brings us to the core of this whole explainer. And trust me, this is a game changer. The art of losing well. It feels totally counterintuitive, I get it, but really understanding this one single idea is what separates the pros from the 90% who eventually blow up their accounts.
Just think about it for a second. Our whole lives, we're taught that winning is everything. But in the world of professional trading, you have to flip that script completely. The winning trades? Yeah, they're great, but they're just the result of a good process. It's how you handle your losses. That's what builds discipline. And believe it or not, that's what builds your count over time.
The key to all of this is a mindset called process discipline. You know, think of it like being a professional athlete. A basketball player doesn't judge their whole game on one missed shot. They judge themselves on their form, their process, their execution. Trading is the exact same. Your job isn't to be right on one trade. Your job is to perfectly execute your plan. The money, that's just a nice side effect of doing your job right. And this slide really nails that mental shift. On one side, you've got the amateur who's just strapped into this emotional roller coaster every single day. Their whole mood is based on whether they're up or down. But on the other side, you've got the professional. They're just calmly asking one question at the end of the day: did I follow my rules? See, they've completely disconnected their ego from the outcome and attached it to their discipline instead. Okay, so if the answer is just be disciplined, why is that so insanely hard to do? Well, it's because our brains are basically hardwired to work against us in a trading environment. Let's really dig into the psychology that you're up against every single day. The main villain in this story is something called loss aversion. It's a proven psychological bias that says we feel the sting of a loss about twice as hard as we feel the joy of an equal gain. You know this feeling, right? Losing a $50 bill just ruins your day, but finding one is just kind of neat. The pain is way stronger. And you can see that emotional imbalance right here. I mean, look at that. The happiness from a $100 win is just dwarfed by the absolute gut punch of losing $100. This lopsided feeling is what fuels disastrous decisions. It's why we hold on to losing trades, just praying they'll turn around, because we're desperate to avoid that intense pain. And in the process, we turn a small, manageable cut into a catastrophic wound.
So just burn this number into your brain. 2 times. The pain is literally twice the pleasure. Your brain is going to instinctively try to shield you from that pain, even if it means making a totally irrational, account-destroying move.
And oh, it gets worse. On top of that, we have to fight our own ego attachment. That's that little voice in your head that whispers, if you take this loss, it means you're stupid. And then there's the pain avoidance illusion, this dangerous fantasy that if you just ignore the small loss today, maybe it'll go away. But all you're really doing is inviting a much, much bigger pain tomorrow. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. Our own brain is the enemy. So, what do we do about it? How do we fight back? Let's get into the new rules of the game and start building a professional playbook.
I love this table because it puts the transformation in stark black and white. Look at the amateur column. It's all about emotion and ego. Words like personal failure, must win, hope. Now look at the professional column. It's all business. Business expense, execute well, rules. This is how you turn a chaotic gamble into a disciplined operation.
So here's your practical step-by-step playbook. 1. Predefine your risk. You have to know exactly how much you're willing to lose before you even click the button. Why? Because that's when you're the most rational. 2. Your stop loss is law. It's not a suggestion. It is a non-negotiable rule that saves you from your emotional brain. And 3, start tracking your execution quality. That becomes your new report card, not your P&L. Did you break your rules today? That's the only grade that matters. And this quote just ties it all together perfectly. The market does not care how smart you are. It doesn't care about your predictions. Over the long haul, the market only pays for one thing: consistent, boring, disciplined execution. Now, when you really start to live by these rules, something amazing happens. It leads to this huge transformation in how you see the market. You finally realize that trading isn't about getting rich, it's about staying alive. If you only take one single thing away from this whole explainer, please let it be this. Great traders are not trying to create a system that never loses. That's impossible, a fool's errand. Their entire mission is to lose well, to keep their losses small, expected, and totally unemotional. And when you truly, deeply get this, the entire game changes. A loss is no longer something to be ashamed of. It gets reframed from a weakness into your most powerful weapon. A small, disciplined loss is the shield that protects your capital, saves your sanity, and keeps you in the game long enough to be there for the really big win. Ultimately, this whole thing boils down to one simple truth. Survival comes first. Your number one job as a trader is not making money. It's managing your risk so that you have the capital and the confidence to show up and trade again tomorrow. Profits are a very distant second. They're just the reward you get after you've mastered the art of survival. So that leaves us with one last question, a question for you to really think about. When you approach the market, what is your actual goal? Are you stuck in that amateur trap, just desperately trying to win every time? Or have you started walking the professional's path, the path of learning to lose well?